Are you thinking about applying for a one-to-one role? Maybe you've seen the job ad, or maybe someone's gently nudging you toward it, saying, you'd be amazing with this child. And maybe you would be amazing. But before you click apply or nod politely in that staff room conversation, I just want to share a few things I wish more schools told teaching assistants, especially newer ones, before they step into that world of one-to-one support. So, the first thing we're going to look at is it's not just you and the child, it's you, the child, and the whole past you didn't live. So, let's start with something nobody prints on the job advert. When you work one to one, you're stepping into a child's story, and sometimes it's a painful one. You might be the third or fifth or 15th adult to be given the job of helping this child. And depending on their past, they may not greet you with instant trust or gratitude. You might get silence, testing behaviour, a big wall of resistance, or sometimes total dependence. That's not because you're doing it wrong, it's because you're stepping into trauma, loss, or instability that takes time and sensitivity to unravel. So, a TA reflection tip: ask yourself, can I stay calm and caring even when I don't get warmth back? Can I be patient when progress is slow or even invisible? And I've been in this situation. And the thing is, I would have answered yes to all of those questions. There's nothing like being in the situation and having a small child feel like they're treating you badly. You know, the child that I supported would tell me to walk into the road and get run over. He would tell me he wished I was dead. And that was on a daily basis. And you think as an adult, you should be able to cope with that. This is just a kid, you know, you're an adult, but on a daily basis, it really, really wears you down. And because you feel like you're not doing a very good job, and of course, the adults around you, you know, bless them, they don't necessarily help. They can sort of, you know, look at you as if to say, what's she doing? Or what is she going to do? He looks like he's about to kick off, he or she, you know, it's you're on the in the spotlight, and it's very, very tricky. Okay, two, it can be isolating. One of the most unexpected challenges of one-to-one work is how lonely it can feel. You might not be attached to a class team. You might be in corridors or outside, or sat with your student at the edge of a carpet listening to lessons but never really in them. Lunchtimes, breaks, not always spent with other staff members. Sometimes you're on duty with your child, or reviewing incident notes, or just catching your breath. So, a TA reflection tip: ask yourself, what's my support network like at school? Do I have a place where I feel seen and valued, even if the role feels separate? For the first 4 to 5 months with this particular child that I've talked about, we were outside playing hide and seek, playing superheroes. And I was all geared up. I was a mature adult, all geared up for helping students learn. I've got a first class degree in it, and that's what I wanted to be doing. Being outside playing games was not my idea of education, and it took me a while to get used to. And I have to say, I went in. Some days I had to drag myself in. So it can be really, really hard. And he didn't cope well at lunchtime, so I'd have to have my lunch quickly and then be there for him so that he, was didn't get into trouble in the playground. It was tough. Three, the emotional load is real. You'll likely care deeply. You'll want to make a difference. But when the child you're working with hits a wall behaviourally, emotionally, or academically, it can feel personal. It isn't, but it feels that way. And if you're not careful, you can end up burning out in slow motion while trying to fix something that isn't yours to fix alone. And a TA reflection tip: ask yourself, can I care without carrying it all? Can I do my best without making myself the only solution? And it is tough because, sometimes you have days when you're not well and it would be better not to go in, but you daren't not go in because that could make something worse for that child. They might not, as much as they're not very happy with you, they're even unhappier without you. And there are days when you just need a break, and you would just like to not go in and be that person all day long. And again, it's it's really tough. If this video is giving you value so far, please give it a thumbs up, because that will encourage YouTube to send it out to more TAs like you. Thank you. 4, you'll need a toolbox, not just a heart. So caring is vital, but on its own it's not enough. You'll need strategies, boundaries, a strong understanding of SEND, special educational needs and disabilities, and a school that gives you the time and training to do it well. The best one-to-ones are not just warm-hearted, they're skilled, proactive and supported. And a TA reflection tip: ask yourself, do I have access to the training, guidance, and backing I need in this role? And if you don't know, find out. So if you're applying for a job as a one-to-one, then you need to ask them what training there is. I was well equipped in that sense, and it did help. I had a plan. That particular child did not want to be in the classroom, and I had a plan of how I was going to move that child slowly, slowly, slowly towards being in the classroom. And so I started working with him in the January, and by the time we got to the September and he was going into year 4, he made the decision himself to join his class. But you do need those skills, and you do need that knowledge. 5, when it's right, it's magic. So here's some balance. When it's right, when the school has your back, when the child starts to grow, when you see tiny breakthroughs and glimmers of trust, one-to-one work can be one of the most powerful, purposeful roles in education. But it works best when you go into it with your eyes wide open, your self-care turned on, and your expectations grounded in reality, not fairy tales. So I remember a moment in the summer term. So we've been working together, getting on for 6 months. And he turned to me and said, I never used to like you, but I think you're all right now. And I went to say something. I smiled and went to say something. He just put his finger up to his mouth and just said, shh. Like he didn't want me to respond. He'd said it and I was not to respond. But that was a magic moment, I can tell you. It'd been really, really tough. But it made it all worth it. And, in the following months, working with him, things just got better and better. He still had issues. He could get angry very, very quickly. He'd had a terrible experience as a young child. He said he was told he had anger issues. I never believed he had anger issues. I believed he was angry for a reason, a very good reason. And it was my job to help him work through it, which I did. And that made it all worth it. So if you're thinking about applying for that one-to-one role, take a moment to reflect. Maybe even watch this video again with a cuppa. And if you do decide to go for it, go in brave, go in clear-headed, and go in knowing that you're going to need support. Now, if after watching this video you are determined that working one-to-one is absolutely what you want to do, or you've unexpectedly found yourself working one-to-one, then you'll love this book. It contains 99 intelligent questions covering 33 different areas of working one-to-one, including understanding the child's needs, learning strategies, behaviour management, classroom integration, assistive technology, individualised plans, dealing with anxiety, and conflict resolution. Now, I've created this book. This is the book that I would have loved to have had when I was working one to one. Also, in it, I tell you who to ask your questions of so that you get the best answers. So, this book is 99 intelligent questions teaching support staff can ask about working one to one with children in mainstream primary school. It's questions that you ask and get answers for. Each question comes with room for you to write the answers you receive, meaning the book will be full of useful information about working one to one in your situation, in your school, with the child you are working with, not generalised one size fits all info that may or may not be appropriate for the child you work with. And to help you further, I've also given you 30 tips for working one to one with children. So, having a book full of intelligent questions will ensure you never worry about the questions you ask. They're not silly, they're essential. If you don't ask questions, how can you be the one to one TA you aspire to? This book will give you the right questions to ask. And if that sounds like it would help you out immensely, I'll put a link to it in the description and comment sections below this video. Thank you so much for watching.